is Uthris, and welcome back to another episode of Vintage Story on the channel. Yesterday, we went ahead and made our copper anvil and our prospecting pick, so we are progressing pretty well here. Today, I'm going to get some copper ingots started, so yeah, we basically just need to start that process. I think I'll go ahead and grab some clay. To make copper ingots, you're going to need things like ingot molds. So this stuff here is what you'll need to pour items from your crucible into, and this will give you an actual workable ingot. Well, at least an ingot that you can then work later, because you have to reheat these things up. And I don't know why I'm making them one at a time. That's on me. You can make two at a time, but whatever. So we'll do a little bit of clay forming to start. Nothing wrong with that. Pop, pop, pop. Okay, there we go. Now let's do the double. I think I'll start with four ingots. I think is fine. I think at this point in the game, I'm not using a crazy amount of metal. At least not yet. We'll definitely get to that point where we're doing things like, you know, 10 to 20 ingot pours or something like that. Alright, so there's our 4 ingot molds. Step outside. Oh, there's a rift right there. Okay, boom, boom. Let's take our axe mold and just set it over here for now. Need a knife. So we get some dry grass. So we need to get enough copper to probably just fill those four molds. It's not too bad to do. That's like 80 copper nuggets. Alright, cool. Knife broke. Normal. Totally fine. We're a little low on sticks, too. Since we have a rift nearby, what I might do is go ahead and get... Also, we're going to do beekeeping today. Or at least set up a little beekeeping area. Let's go get some sticks. So I'm really tempted to move some flowers over here near this rift so they turn into rift bloom. And it looks like rocks still turn into elemental crystals with the mod here, so we'll add a couple rocks as well. Eventually we'll really want to work on the magic mod. It's one of my favorite mods in the game. It's just so in depth. Whoa, 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 whoa! Is that a shiver? What's he doing out? Where's he going? He's just straight up running away. And walking on water. And drowning. Okay. Put our honey pot down. Oh. Cool, we got a little rust crystal. Okay, it's not called an elemental fragment anymore. Rust Crystal is a pretty apt name. Alright. Let's go ahead and take care of our needs here. Go ahead and eat. Grab a jug of water to carry around. Store the clay. Oh, by the way, I made my boots right before I started recording, my leg armor. So we got a full set of armor now, which I'm going to always need to carry with us, but I don't need to always wear. I mean, it helps, you know, from getting ambushed for sure. If I'm not, you know, if I'm not wearing it, then it's not offering protection. But it's just such a huge drain on the resources. So we're gonna try and avoid doing that while we're just picking up sticks. Okay, got that. Let's grab some fuel here for the pig kilns. Light them up. Also, a little bit of a storm front is kind of coming through, so it's starting to rain, and the winds are pretty high, so that's pretty cool. The weather system in this game is pretty dynamic, so that's nice. The only thing that it doesn't really do well is like wind speed. Kind of always goes, I believe, east to west or west to east. I think west to east. Ooh, some lightning way off in the distance. Man, that would be a way for the series to end, huh? Just a lightning strike and I die? Oh, that would be the worst. Okay, so those are going. What we need.
Hello there.
Ah! What the? What are you? Rustic Ravager? Ah! Huh. What the fuck? Was that? Okay, so catching chickens didn't work. I'm gonna put my hunting backpack down, though for some reason it's invisible, so I'll put that down. So we can pick this up and move it. There we go. Yeah, if you don't know, you can hold control to scroll wheel over into your bag slots. And if you're holding a bag, you can actually place it directly on the ground. So that's a good way to not have to worry about taking things out of a bag if you need to store it real quick. You can just plop it on the ground and you're kind of good to go. Okay. I don't want to fight that thing, but I also really don't want to fight that thing. Though they're kind of everywhere. I might need to. Okay. So it just takes 4 spear throws to kill one. It's not bad. It's a fire drone. Damage tier 2. Oh, we got a temporal gear out of it. That's pretty cool. And a fire elemental crystal. Yeah, the temporal gears, since we can't use them to really set our spawn or anything, they'll just be used to. Yeah, well, let's just do that again. Looks like these guys don't do spells. Or at least not yet. Maybe if I get close enough, they'll do like a fire punch or something. But why get close when you can just chuck spears at it? Alright, now that we're down here. Oh, I'm still in dig well mode, which I need to check on that well. See if it's collecting any water. Okay, so it's perfectly safe You know, as long as I don't hit the ceiling, nothing's going to happen. I could dig this little area straight down. Won't cause a cave in unless I happen to bump up against another ceiling at another point. But if I look at this block, basically the farther you get from a supporting wall, you get instability. So 25%, 35%, back to 25%. This one, I think slate is a little bit weaker. Different rock types have kind of different instability rates. But to re-raise the instability, you gotta have a support beam. And you always start at the ceiling you want to support. So in this case, I'm gonna grab this corner here with my beam. Might help if I actually made it back into a support beam. So I'm gonna right click here, and now I'm just drawing my support beam. As long as it's connected to a block, it doesn't matter. I could do this would support it. I could take it down to the floor, that would support it. I could literally go a pixel over, that would support it. The way support beams work is every block of travel equals a block used. I'm a stickler for at least a little bit of something that's believable, so I generally do just straight down to the floor, okay? And now you can see the instability is down to 0, which means I can go ahead and mine here and feel perfectly safe. And as we move away from the support beam, the instability will kind of go back to what it was doing. So that's how support beams work. You can recollect your support beams if you so choose, but be careful of that. That could actually kind of send a block update up here, and then you will be having a cave-in real soon. So I generally don't do that. So I'll go ahead and mark this as complete here. Take a nice little X, mark it as green, so that I know, hey, something was here, but you know, it's done. With that, we'll travel this way. Over to the next ore deposit. Okay, so you can see this is roughly where the ore will be. Actually, I brought a shovel so we can actually use this thing. Start our cut. Okay, accidentally was in well mode again. It actually says what mode you're in at the top, but it's the well mode is something new, so I'm not used to even checking shovels and pickaxes for different modes. It's usually prospect and sometimes shears, depending on what mods you have, or your scythe. Okay. Then we go down a little bit more. And it could be a few blocks deep, just like that. So, got some medium native copper. And then I'll go ahead and just, this is kind of a bigger surface deposit, so I'll go ahead and immediately support this block so that I can dig out left, right, up, down. The reason that I do corners of the block, by the way, is it's kind of the most out of the way. If I did it right in the middle, I wouldn't be able to see very well. So I tend to stick them on corners of the ceilings. And generally, it will support, you know, 2 or 3 blocks in every direction. As soon as the instability kind of comes back, you can add a support beam. That's probably the safest way to mine in this game currently. you can wait until the percentage is over like 30, like 40% or 50%. You know, like right here, this is 25%. I'm not overly worried about it. I'm going to stand back though, just in case. We're clear out a little bit more ceiling. Okay, that's fine. And now we're at 35%. Because I'm on hardcore mode, I would say that's what I'll do. So boom, you get a support beam. Instantly, this whole thing is supported. So far. Kind of never know. There is a block called a cracked stone. So if you look in your Ace menu, there's cracked versions. So I can run into cracked slate. This stuff starts instability at 50%. So if you just happen across some cracked stone, you might get a cave in sooner. And then, of course, you know, things like chalk, sandstone, the weaker stones that can't hold up a lot of weight without crumbling, those are going to collapse sooner as well, just by default. Slate's okay. Granite's obviously probably going to be the best, or like andesite or something, but... So here's my 35%. Just take that down to the floor. And even just doing this simple, just vertical post kind of method, I like it. Now, if you wanted to be a little bit fancy, you could drag cross members to some of these if you want. Obviously, that's just decorative. It's not really doing much more to support your roof in this case. But if you wanted to do that, you could. If you wanted to have a wider span that actually supported your roof, what you can do actually is something like this. I could do a span start from this block and then bring it all the way over to the edge here, and this edge back to the middle as well. This one I actually did inversely. But essentially, you know, like I said, your starting point kind of dictates the point in which it's supporting. So we have a starting point here. We have our starting point kind of in the middle. So you can get a span to just go all the way across like this as well. But I like the vertical posts personally. Especially for these little mine shafts like these. Now, if I were to build like a decorative mine shaft, or if I'm in a mine shaft long enough, because honestly, when you get to prospecting, mines can span hundreds and hundreds of blocks as you prospect around and find more ore and open up new shafts. You know, you might come back in later and clean it up. All right, cool. Yep, that's done. So let's grab our tongs and we'll pour our molds. I love mold pouring. You can actually see the color change as it cools. So right now it's all like white and molten, and then as it cools down, you'll find that it'll start changing colors and like go into like the deep reds down to its copper color. And then different metals that you pour, this visual is different. Black bronze looks so cool when you do a large ingot pour, and you get to see all the color variation as it's cooling. Okay, we're back from a little bit of a hunting trip. We got some berries, some raw fish. So we're gonna go ahead and cook that into a meal. And then we also have just raw red meat as well from killing a bunny. I might need to capture some bunnies for some early good meat production. They breed quick, I believe, and can I do that? Okay, I can. And I think I have 2 mushrooms to add. Okay, cool. that should do us there. Over here, I'll add the red meat. Munch on that too. Take the last serving of our previous meal we had cooked. And then we're good to go. Alright, blacksmithing. Let's talk about blacksmithing and go ahead and make our first little thing here. I'm going to make two things because I can heat up 2 pieces of metal at once. Look at that. And then otherwise we'll just store this for now. This place is starting to become a mess, but eventually we'll have a workshop and forge and things like that. So I'm going to go ahead and use 1 piece of charcoal. Big tip on this, you do not need to fill up the forge to light the forge. 1 piece of charcoal will fully heat up these 2 copper ingots. Okay? And I have plenty of time to work these. If you're new, you might not have enough time depending on how used you are to blacksmithing. And I think that's normal. It's a little bit of a skill-based little mini-game, which is why I like it so much. So don't be discouraged if you might need to go through two pieces of charcoal just to keep something warm a little bit longer, or something like that. But we'll go ahead and light this up. Okay. The forge is on, it's lit, and you can see what's going to happen is these metals will visually heat up. They'll get redder and redder the hotter they get. Copper and other metals have different working temperatures potentially, so keep that in mind. Copper, you can start working at 850 degrees Celsius is probably when I would start doing it, but I think each person's a little bit different when it comes to blacksmithing in this game, which I think is really cool. So while we wait for that to heat up, let's grab our meal. What do we get? 750 food for protein, 120 vegetable, and 90. Nice. That'll be good for another day or 2 of food for us. So I'm gonna make 2 things right off the cusp. We're gonna make shears. So I'll go ahead and grab this and a saw blade. Okay. So the way blacksmithing works, you can see once I place it on the anvil, I get a recipe selection. I selected the saw blade, and now I can see all the individual voxels that I need to move by pressing F on the copper hammer. To move these voxels around. And then when I do that, I choose left, so the voxels will move left. Very, very straightforward here. You can fold the voxels around. Voxels are, there's some general rules about them and how they kind of work here, which I'll explain in this situation. So anywhere that's not green, by the way, is just an area that doesn't matter. But you'll see that this, it would be great if I could move this directly to the right, but there's no voxel that it's on top of to slide across. And so what I have to do is I have to fold it over on top of another voxel and then move it and then fold it back down. Okay? That is a very important thing to know. Once you get the shape done, and you can rotate this by pressing right click, just to make sure you have all the green spots filled. You can sit down on the ground with G, rotate it in case the recipe is a little bit complicated. You go to the splitter function, and then all these other highlighted voxels, we're just gonna delete them. Easy peasy. And there we go. We got a metal saw blade. Let's grab the other ingot, put it on here. We'll do the shears. A little bit of a different recipe. I'm going to use something called heavy hit, which kind of just flattens out the overall shape. Kind of does it. There's a little bit of a standard shape that it flattens out to, but that just comes with practice. I can't even describe really what it is. This I'm gonna have to fold back and then down. And we're gonna fold back, down. Honestly, using a heavy head here was probably the least efficient way to do this. Because all this flat chunk here, I'm gonna have to unfold. Which I kind of end up doing kind of a little marching ant type. Yep. You can do that. That. Let's go down to there. Let's get these bits up. And every recipe is a little different, and there's mods. There's even modded recipes and things to do. Alright, the reason I'm starting with shears and a saw, let's go cool these down. This is one of the coolest things too. We don't have a water source block in here, but I can come down here to the river and let them cool down, because if I don't do that, I can't hold them with my hands. Without tongs. So there we go. Now that we have shears, great little tool. It'll let us kind of get sticks from trees a lot quicker. I don't know if I like this tree here. I planted it like day one, and it finally grew. I don't know. It's a little close to the house, maybe. And then the saw, just attach a stick to it. And now we can saw planks and make chests and other things that require planks. So planks are kind of, once you're kind of in the metal age properly, you'll be using planks to create items, storage vessels, barrels, shingles, roof tiles, crates for storage, animal troughs, vertical, like planks are used for just about everything. So that initial tool, very, very important. Because of that, I'm gonna need another tool rack as well. So I can store, hammer goes with mining stuff, shears here, and saw there. Nice. Go ahead and drink this. Okay. So, just like that, once you're actually blacksmithing and making ingots, to me, this means you're in the metal age, okay? When you're doing metal pours, still, and using molds heavily, to me, that's late pottery age, because you are relying on your ceramics to get stuff done still. But now, we're at the copper age. We need to blacksmith up more tools, our knives, axes, shovels, and things like that, so. Now, I could actually just do pours for that as well. If I wanted a bunch of axes, I could just do a pour. That way I don't have to wait for the metal to cool. But, anyways, let's show you the shear a little bit. I'm not going to make any planks right now. I need to do, probably between episodes, I'll do a little bit of a inventory overhaul. Here, you see how many sticks we're getting now from these branchy leaves? Shears are super important. You wouldn't think so, but I find sticks to be one of the more cumbersome things to kind of gather all the time, it feels. Just because of how much you use them. But now with those shears, we're kind of good to go. So with that, I'll go ahead and end today's episode here. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed the episode, feel free to subscribe, hit that like button, become a member today to support the channel. And what do you guys think? I think Vintage Story is going pretty good, even on the hard difficulty. I'm going very slow because I have to be very safe, but we're surviving. I'm hesitant to say I'm thriving until I start actually having food pantries, but in a farm. But I think we're doing fairly well in our little cabin here. So with that, see you guys in the next episode. Bye.